This presentation takes you through some screening questionnaires and assessments that we use or have used at Dyspraxia UK. I've divided them into two sections, children and families, and screens and assessments suitable for young people and adults. Here are some questionnaires that you can use with your clients. On the left, we've got questionnaires suitable for children and young people, and on the right, questionnaires for adolescents and adults. So for both, we need a really good detailed questionnaire to gain all of the background history. For adults, we've got a choice of a couple. You've got the DIDA questionnaire by Kirby, Barnett and Hill, which is new and was developed in 2018. That goes through, it's really a diagnostic inventory for DCD assessment, and that's in the resources file. I've also included a free, readily available presentation from Amanda Kirby, actually presenting the DIDA questionnaire, and she gives some context behind that. So that's Amanda Kirby's PowerPoint presentation has also been included for you. For the children, we've got the DCDQ Developmental Coordination Questionnaire by Wilson, and that's suitable for children ages 5 to 15. Obviously, a carer would complete that. The DCDQ is actually a bit oversensitive, so it's more likely it flags up more children as at risk from DCD, sort of indicating further assessment, than children who actually end up meeting the diagnostic criteria. And it's well known it's a little bit oversensitive, but to be honest, that's not a bad thing, because it means that children aren't missed. So it's better that more children are flagged to go on to have a thorough assessment than not. On the right hand side, we'll leap back over there, we've got the ADC Adult DCD Checklist, which was developed by Kirby and Rosenbaum really for students going off to higher education. It's quite nice and quick, and it asks about difficulties in childhood, but also current persistent difficulties, which also include questions around driving, shaving, and makeup application, those sorts of things. And that's really good. So these are normed checklists, which are really helpful and give you a good indicator about going forwards. And then at Dyspraxia UK, we always use a sensory profile checklist for both age groups, just because we find that nearly anybody with changes in their motor coordination nearly always has changes in their sensory symptoms. The systems are so inextricably linked. It just gives you more information. So we tend to use the Sensory Profile 2, Caregiver and Teacher Perspectives, two separate booklets. That links in nicely to the Diagnostic Triangle, getting that other opinion. I've included at the bottom the brief, which stands for the Brief Behavioural Screening Questionnaire, and Sarah uses that a lot, and she has provided a separate presentation or overview of that. Depending on the person that you're seeing, you may feel it would be helpful to do further screens for other conditions, which may indicate the need for further assessment by a different professional. So, for example, we sometimes use the Strengths and Difficulties questionnaire. That's got 5 subscales that look at emotional problems, conduct problems, hyperactivity and inattention, or peer and relationship issues, and pro-social behaviour. So that's the SDQ, and that's valid from age 3 to 16. Now, the next couple of bullet points really highlight screens for autistic spectrum conditions, and both the CAST and the AQ, EQ and SQ were developed by the team here at Cambridge. So Simon Baron-Cohen and his team developed those, and these are normed, self-rated checklists. Obviously for the children, the carers complete those, but again, they're absolutely not diagnostic. They really flag potentially for further assessment by the right professional. And last but not least, we've got the Dyslexia Association. They have a free screen on their website, which is quite robust, but it just acts as a starter for 10. If somebody's reporting reading problems, you can do that with them. Depending on the scoring, point them to a specialist teacher for further assessment in that area if needs be. So now, from your screening assessments and from your detailed confidential questionnaire or DIDA assessment, you'll have lots of rich information already about the developmental milestones and all of their historic performance at school and making relationships and those sorts of things. Now we want to think, which motor assessment do we want to use? All of us will have different considerations depending on where we work, which client groups we're with, and the sorts of assessment kits that we've actually got access to and the environment in which to use them. So it's worth thinking, what do I want to assess with this person? From our perspective, a really good, solid motor coordination assessment is really key if you're working with people who may have developmental coordination disorder. There are many things that overlap for lots of our people that we see, such as auditory processing issues, visual perceptual problems. So you've always got to be thinking, double checking what you're seeing. You need to consider the age of the person and check that your assessment is actually valid for the person that you're going to see. Interestingly, there is a gap between 21 years and 11 months and age 40. The BOT2 goes up to 21 years, 11 months, and the BMAT, another Brunick's assessment, starts at 40. So there is a normed gap in the middle. In that instance, we use the assessment that's closest to the person's age. You need to think about your assessment setting. For example, in the full BOT2, the child has to do a shuttle run, so you need plenty of space for that. Similarly, in the older 40 plus assessment, the BMAT, you have to measure out an area for the person to walk fast and change direction and come back again. And so it's really thinking where you can carry that out successfully in a standardized way. How much time have you got to do all of these assessments? If you're thinking about a good solid motor assessment, maybe some paper-based items as well, that needs to be considered. Do you need to do the assessment in one all at once, or can you break it down into 2 or 3 sessions? How familiar are you with the standardized assessment that you're about to use? I would recommend it's totally worth taking an assessment home, practicing on your nearest and dearest, getting used to the spiel that goes with some of the assessments, the fiddliness of setting some of them up, and just feeling confident with your scoring and adding up. At Dyspraxia UK, we have a buddy system, so we'll fairly routinely get a colleague to check our scoring, just to try and factor out any human errors that we all make from time to time. So it is worth thinking about a backup system for you personally when you're scoring up things. This slide shows a range of assessments which are frequently used at Dyspraxia UK. The ones that I've put in bold are ones that I use really regularly. As you can see, we've got the BOT2 and the BOT2 brief, which the age range is from 4 to 21 years and 11 months. What's great about the BOT2 is that it has norms for both males and females, and it's a really broad age range, so you can see quite a lot of clients. It's a good investment. The DASH, the detailed assessment of speed of handwriting, is great for looking at posture, pressure of the pen on the page, grip, all of those qualitative things in addition to the speed of handwriting, which is good for obviously children at school, those in college and upwards. So you've got two versions, the one that goes up to age 16 and the one that's normed for 17 plus into young adulthood. Then we've got the BERI, Visual Motor Integration Assessment, valid from age 2 all the way up to 100, looking at visual discriminatory ability and also fine motor precision control. Lastly, I use the wide range intelligence test with quite a lot of my clients, really to show their skills in terms of verbal fluency and reasoning. It's in two domains. You've got the verbal reasoning and visual reasoning. Often it's great to be able to show strength in these areas, and that really can buoy somebody's self-esteem. And also you can see a discrepancy between someone's cognitive intellectual functioning and their reduced motor skills, which of course tells you that it's not a more significant learning problem. At the top we've got the GOAL, which is a fantastic assessment developed by Lucy Jane Miller in the States. It's valid from age 7 to 11 months. It's a great occupational therapy assessment because it's really functional. You've got fine motor, colouring, cutting, you've got dressing, pouring water, cutting, cutlery, all sorts. There's a film to follow about that, which presents it beautifully. So the movement ABC has recently been revised to the 2nd edition, and that goes from age 3 up to 16 years, 11 months. There is a gap between the BOT2 and there's a next assessment which is called the BMAT. That's another Brunick's assessment called the BMAT, and that goes from age 40 plus. There's a gap between the regular BOT2 and the BMAT, so you just have to use which assessment is closest. This slide shows the key complementary features between the movement ABC2 and the BOT2. This was produced by Pearson, or now PsychCorp, which is an objective overview of both assessments. It's not trying to sell you one over the other, it's really just a comparison between the two. As I said previously, the BOT2 gives you a greater age range, and the full BOT2 kit, although expensive, it does give you the option of the short form, which only takes about 20 minutes, half an hour. So it is quite versatile. However, if you have the movement ABC2, it's highly regarded, it's well evidence-based and robust. The following film
Hi, I'm Dave Herzberg. I'm one of the authors of the Goal-Oriented Assessment of Life Skills, or GOAL, published by WPS. And these are my kids.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm 14 and I'm in 8th grade.
Hi, my name is Anna. I'm 8 years old and I'm in the 3rd grade.
And we're going to demonstrate the GOAL activities for you. This short video will cover the most important things to keep in mind and watch for as you go through the activities. To prepare the GOAL record form for testing, fold it so the performance record panel is on one side and the administration notes page is on the other. The GOAL easel provides all instructions for administration and recording the child's performance. Make sure you read the manual thoroughly and practice with the kit and easel before using the GOAL for the first time. Keep the GOAL backpack near the table so you have access to the kit materials you need. For utensils, roll all of the Play-Doh into a length about 1.5 inches thick. Jacob's cutting pieces about 1/2 inch thick, which is the right size. For scoring, I'll count only pieces that he cuts with both the knife and fork together. If Jacob hadn't cut the Play-Doh into 10 equal-sized pieces, I would have recut it myself before starting him on the spearing task. For scoring, I'll only count pieces that he spears one at a time without using his hands. For scooping, Jacob needs to scoop the water, sip a bit from the spoon, and transfer the rest to the second cup, all without spilling. Small drips off the bottom of the spoon don't count as spills. In locks, Anna gets 30 seconds to open the keyed lock and 2 minutes to open the combination lock. Before starting her on the combination lock, I demonstrated how to open it slowly and deliberately, and then reset the dial to 1. In Paperbox, I count the balloons and umbrella sections that Jacob colors correctly. The correct ones have at least 90% of the shape filled with a single colored crayon and no stray marks extending more than 1/16 of an inch past the outer border. Jacob needs to cut on the solid lines, not on the dashed lines. To be counted as correct, each cut must be within the gray error band. A correct fold lies completely within the colored band that surrounds the fold line. The key thing to remember about taping is that you don't time the first tape placement. Jacob tapes the first joint with a piece of tape from the dispenser. To tape the remaining joints, he'll use 4 pieces of tape that I place at the edge of the table. I start the timer only after saying go for him to tape the second joint. When I count the number of joints he taped correctly, I'll include the one he did before I started the timer. For notebook, I stacked the sheets and dividers in the order specified in the easel. I also pointed to the tabs to show Anna the difference between the sheets and the dividers. Anna can earn credit for step N1 simply by opening and closing the binder and rings within the time limit. To earn credit for N2, she must order the stack so that no 2 dividers are right next to each other. For N3, she must place the 6 colored sheets into 3 same colored pairs, grouping the white, yellow, and blue sheets together. Close consists of dressing and undressing tasks, which are timed separately. Jacob needs to put on the oversized shirt and shorts right side out and with the labels in the back. He must remain standing while dressing and undressing. In ball play, I count how many times Jacob dribbles the tennis ball in 30 seconds. I won't count any dribbles where he lets the ball bounce more than once before hitting it again with his hand. Here Jacob is bouncing the ball with one hand and catching it with the other. I won't count a repetition if he drops the ball or catches it with both hands. Jacob needs to throw the ball so it bounces off the floor, off the wall, and he catches it, all with his preferred hand. I won't count a repetition if he drops the ball, lets it bounce twice, or catches it with both hands. Here Jacob stands behind the tape and uses his preferred foot to kick the ball against the wall. The ball must cross the tape on the rebound to be counted as a repetition. Set up tray carry in a room that's at least 20 feet long and 5 feet wide. Place the chairs 15 feet apart, facing each other, and space the 3 sponges at roughly equal intervals between. Before starting, I demonstrated the activity to Anna, but I didn't allow her to practice. Here Anna picks up the tray and walks quickly to chair B, stepping over and not beside the 3 sponges. She circles chair B and sits all the way down in it, then stands up and walks back to chair A, this time kicking all 3 sponges at least 1 foot to either side. The 7 mobility elements required for passing steps T1 to T3 are listed with checkboxes on the record form. Kicking the 3 sponges is scored separately in step T4. To pass T5, Anna must perform all 7 mobility elements within the time limit without spilling any water from either cup. And that concludes our brief tour of the goal activities. Now, Jacob and Anna, what did you guys think?
Well, I thought that a lot of the activities were interesting and they were fun to try.
Well, some of the activities were challenging for me, but in the end it was really fun.